everyone, and welcome to a quick session on teaching our dogs a marker. So a marker is could be a clicker, it could be a verbal marker, so something like yes or good, or it could even be just a click or click of the fingers, for instance, or it could be a whistle. Basically, a marker, whether it's a verbal marker or a clicker, is an indication to your dog that they did something right, they did it correctly, whatever you've asked them to do, and it's a promise that a reward will follow. Okay, so the click is a bit like taking a photograph of the exact moment your dog got it right. And it's, for them, it's a recognition that, yes, I got it right and reward is coming. Okay, so if you do click and you do say yes, or you say yes or a good, then you do need to follow up with a reward, whether you marked it correctly or not. Okay, because from your dog's point of view, it's a promise that that reward is coming. So if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm just going to give you an example. So how we would start to train it or get your dog used to it is maybe just teaching something that they already know and marking when they get it right. So I'm going to try and get Ruby up. It's a bit hot today, that's why we're working in the kitchen. And just show you how I would use it for a nose target. So we're just going to look at a nose target. Okay, so when she puts her nose on my hand, that's when I'm going to click. Now you could use a clicker or you could use your verbal marker. So I'll show you both in a second. I'm just going to use the clicker first. Ready, Ruby? Touch. Good. So the click comes the moment her nose touches my hand, and then I follow up with a treat. Doesn't matter if there's a slight delay from your marking the behaviour and you delivering the treat. Ready? Touch. Good. Nice. I tend to be a bit vocal when I'm training, and I end up doing a good girl or anything else. But as long as that click went the moment she marked my hand, that's fine. One more go. Nice, good girl. Can't help it. Can't help talking to her. Right. So that's a clicker. So you could introduce it that way. You could just introduce it by clicking and feeding. Okay, so that's how what we call charging the marker. So click and feed. So you're not really doing anything. She's just learning that association between click means food's coming. Okay. So when you're teaching something new, it's much easier for the dog to get it right, and they learn so much quicker. So if I was using a verbal marker, so for instance, I didn't have my clicker with me, or I'm teaching, I use both, to be honest. I use clicker training for more sort of precise training, and I use my verbal marker when we're out and about. So I might ask for a sit. Good. So I'm going to mark the moment her bum goes down. So she kind of did an auto sit there. So I'm just going to show you again. Sit. Good. Got a little bit confused then, didn't we? Was that what we're doing? Well, we're doing nose targets a minute ago. Good girl. Okay, so I'm going to ask again. Sit. Good. So I use my verbal marker as soon as her bottom hits the floor. Okay, and you could say good girl or good boy, but you'll be saying that all the time. So I want you to think about using a short, sharp word. If you use good a lot, if good's too difficult because you say it, follow it up with boy or girl, then use a yes instead. Right, so I tend to use several markers with Ruby, to be honest. So I'll just do the nose target again. Yes. And she does know, to be honest. But I would stick to one word and or the clicker so that your dog's yes makes an easy association with it. Good girl. So I do use different markers for different things. So I might use a yes. Yes, I tend to get a bit more excited. So if I'm doing something in high arousal with her, I'll use a yes. Whereas if I'm doing something quite calming, then I'll use a good or a nice or something like that. And the clicker tends to be for more trick training and more where I'm breaking things down into tiny little steps. And also I wouldn't use a clicker if I'm doing any kind of calming behaviour with her, because the click does, fire those electrons in the brain. So yeah, so I wouldn't use a clicker for calming stuff. Cool. Okay. So that's just a little session on marker training. Have a little go at that with your dog, and we'll see you soon.